Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And remember this, the lucky rabbit foot didn't work very well for the rabbit. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America. Followed by a patriot. Come on, patriots, get out of bed, call me with our Pledge of Allegiance. And a good morning to you and yours. What a beautiful day outside. A little bit crisp, but it's going to be a nice day. And we'll have that weather forecast in just a moment. Wheels, did that end finally, that little static, or what kind of status are we in right now?
Whoops, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to say that the sound sounds like it seems like it went away.
Okay, well, keep listening to it if you would, please. All right. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and serving is the key word. Stop in and see them today. Also, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning again.
You the man.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much, Wheels. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to everybody by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. You couldn't possibly miss their location. Absolutely stands right out, and they've got the best of rental of tools and equipment for you and any job you're trying to finish. Roger and the crew get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. at K&R Rental. And the number to call is 678-3122. Right now, let's hear what the weather's going to be.
For once, we can actually see the mountains for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at mostly sunny skies for today. The air quality advisory has been lifted, which is very, very wonderful. Expecting a high of 72, slightly breezy, winds out of the east, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, sunny and 80, expecting an overnight low of 52 for Wednesday night. Thursday, mostly sunny and 82. By Friday, expecting sunny skies, mid-70s. Then for Saturday, back up to about 80. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Whoa, not too bad. Early, let's say pre-fall weather coming into the Magic Valley. And you can see, my goodness sakes, I can see across the canyon this morning. And with all the smoke we've had the last couple of weeks, no way, but it's clear and looks so good. Good morning, and thank you to K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And they offer their rental tools and equipment for both long and short term, so get a hold of them today. They've got everything you need. Stop in or give them a call, 678-3122, K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Also want to acknowledge that Thursday is sale day. at the sale that works for you, and that's the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. Good guys and their staff all serving you at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley with a telephone number for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. 678-9411. Sale time Thursday at 10:30 at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, in this business of producing a talk show every day, and I think I speak for a lot of guys and gals out there that put on talk shows, you are absolutely subject to people saying, you bet I'll be there, you betcha, and then they give you their number and they say, we're all set to go, and then less than an hour before the program they call and they cancel. Well, I've had this come up. Well, I can't be there. I've got a Senate hearing to go to or whatever. That's the case of this morning. We didn't have one. We didn't have two, but we had three at the 9 o'clock hour say, well, yeah, we'll be there. We'll cover it. We'll be there. And then no. So I don't know what's going to happen at 9:06 this morning. We'll drop back 15 yards, kick, and see who catches it. And we've got all kinds of things other than that this morning. We've got Dr. History. We've got John Horvat. We've got all kinds of good people, including you, are welcome to give us a call at 436-2244, bit my tongue. And, of course, 1-866-927-4587. So give me a jingle. I want to remind you, too, about Daryl's Cleaners. Excuse me. We've been going there with our clothing for a long time, and they do such a phenomenal job of dry cleaning. And when you go get your clothes, you sit there and go, holy moly, I didn't know I had that new shirt or whatever. They really care. They care about your clothes. And going into the fall, I certainly hope you have all your fall jackets and coats and everything cleaned and ready to wear. If not, hustle in there at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They're waiting right now to serve you. I know somebody else that'll serve you too, and that's our friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric. I was really, really impressed last week when we had that power outage, and it blew the ballast out of my great big light fixture in my ceiling. And bingo, bango, right away Jared's over here from Ramsey Heating and Electric, and he knew what the problem was right off the get-go. Got it fixed. Lights on. We're happy. All your heating and cooling and electrical needs from Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, I've got it on speed dial, 678-0459. 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And believe me, as we're getting ready for fall, you should too. Call them. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 678-0459. Wow, the Roseanne spinoff. I was not aware of this because I do not watch prime time network television. I don't find anything good on prime time network television, be it CBS, ABC, or NBC. I think that most of the programming is absolutely ridiculous, whether it's stupid, frivolous shows like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or, some kind of goofy, whacked-out comedy or whatever. But I was a little bit surprised when the Roseanne show came back into being and the ratings went right through the roof. And then, of course, with some comments that she made, Roseanne, the person I'm talking about, the show was taken off the air, and Roseanne was put into never again land. They fired her, got rid of her, and I doubt if we'll ever see her on TV again. But I was thinking this morning when I caught a little bit of how they're trying to rewrite and reproduce a Roseanne spinoff without her, I guess they're going to say that she passed away or something, and they're going to call the show The Connors. I was thinking about some of the left and some of the vile and stupid and filthy and sleazy things they have done, and their careers seem to be escalated. I'm sure you could add to the list. But one of the people that comes to mind was one of the most foul-mouthed and vile people that I know that's ever been on television, and that's Kathy Griffin. She is a despicable, filthy-mouthed person. And she was the one that was shown in a picture holding a fake severed head of our President Trump. What happened to her career? Oh, for a little bit there were sobs and there were cries. And then she was offered a bigger position with a bigger show. And then we have the teen heartthrob, and I can't see why, I've never thought she was any good, Madonna. And in an interview she said, I want to go blow up the White House. That's a direct threat. I want to go blow up the White House. And did it affect her career? Nope, nada. But Roseanne is gone because she made some comments about the past administration people. And I didn't think, now I'm not trying to cover up for Roseanne, but I didn't think that the comments she made were nearly as bad as Kathy Griffin standing there with a severed, bloody head representing President Trump. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Double standard? Quadrupled, I think. Denny's Restaurant, what a phenomenal place to go eat. Nice people, great service. Oh, wow, it is America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Just go in there, sit down, look at the menu choices. I tell you, I had that pot roast sandwich the other day. Now that was knock your socks off delicious. You be sure and get in there. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. 611 North Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and it is America's Diner. You stop in and see them today. Well, I have a moment. Come on, give me a call. I'm going to be begging for calls today because of a lack of people that are going to show up on their agreed times. So give me a jingle. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Now, they know how to help you get back to being you. I mean, doggone it, if you've had an accident or you're recovering from surgery or whatever, Nick Greenwell and all the very highly qualified physical therapists can help you. And they've also got that hydrotherapy pool there. Whoa, yeah. You get a hold of them, 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Caller, good morning to you. How are you?
And a great morning to you too, Zeb.
Well, thank you, sir.
You know, you brought up something that ties into what I was going to say.
Oh.
You know, when Roseanne or these people like that, or what about the Madonna in the White House and all that kind of stuff, it seems important at the time, and then it fades away.
Yeah.
And I liken that into your problem with your light fixture. Now, I know a little bit about fluorescent lighting, but what I found in the past is it's easier to replace a fixture than the ballast because it's about the same price. And so what the point of it I'm trying to make is fix it right the first time, maybe, and you won't have to do it again?
Well, absolutely. I agree with that, and wheels ride the gain a little bit on the feedback, but I'm thinking that no matter what the left does today, seriously, they can yell and scream and call President Trump a traitor. They can yell and scream, and they can say things that are filthy and completely without any class, or do something that is absolutely without any class, like Kathy Griffin or Madonna, and they get a free pass and a ticket to go to the next level. Now, I'm not advocating what Roseanne said or did was right. Not at all. But I'm saying there's a classic case of a career done right there. A TV show done right there. And the others that did it on the left were elevated to a higher position with more money.
That's true. And you liken this to the flair, or whatever you want to call it, of the death of John McCain, the celebration and everything like that. Would that be anywhere near close if something happened to President Trump?
I don't even want to talk about the diminishment or ending of a person's life. I said this yesterday, or a portion of this, and then I'm going to say this, and I'm going to wrap up this call. I get another one waiting. I did not care for the politics of John McCain. I did not care for, in many instances, his, I think, bending to the left. Now, that being said, he was a war hero. He was a great citizen. He was a senator for the state of Arizona that absolutely put forth, I think, an effort to work for his constituents. I did not agree with his politics, but I respect the man, and I feel absolute sympathy for his family in his passing.
That's my exact feelings, is I feel sorry for the family. I mean, it's something that we all have got to face at one time or another.
Yep.
But it's over and it's gone, and we need to move on.
Thank you very much, Keith, for your call. I do appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet.
All right. Caller number 2, I'll be right with you, I promise. I'm just going to tell everybody about all the great equipment rentals and equipment buys at Barry Equipment and Rental Sales Service and Parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. I dropped the book. And then also 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls and the Nampa location. And they got the big Doosan loaders and all the Doosan equipment. I mean, they're your authorized Doosan dealer. They can and they will help you. Rent it or buy it. It's all there for you, along with all the Bobcat excavators, everything. They've got them in all shapes and sizes. What are you waiting for? Stop in and see Juan in Burley, or Eli in Twin Falls, or the Nampa location. Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, waiting to serve you. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Bad news contains excitement, and it sells. Good news is ho-hum. That's why a lot of these companies pick up these big mouths, because they can print all this exciting stuff in the paper, and it's going to bring more money into the company, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I agree with you, but I absolutely am offended that someone like Kathy Griffin, that I find so culturally backward in the way that she says things and does things and promote things in nothing but filth. I have no use for that woman, and I can't see how she could do something so heinous as holding a severed head of our president, and then after all the dust settles, gets a promotion. This makes no sense to me.
Well, it's because many of the Republicans up there in Washington are sitting on their duffs, and they're getting their big pay no matter what happens out there.
I will say I agree with you, sitting on their duffs when they should be out doing something, and quite frankly, with the power of the House and the power of the Senate, they are doing nothing to warrant their power in both of those houses of Congress, and I'm mad about it. Tony, I appreciate your thoughts, as always. Thank you.
Okay, Zeb.
God bless you, man. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Morning, Zeb. Where would we be right now if any of this happened to Obama or a Democratic president? And I know this has been brought up over and over and over again. It comes to mind that as an American citizen, and I'm not going to say Republican anymore or Democrat, because it doesn't really matter the party. It matters the content of your heart and your spirit for the country. And it seems like the harder we strive to make ourselves better and stronger, the more the other side, the side that wants to drag us down and wants something for nothing, the harder they scream, kick, and throw a tantrum on the floor because they just can't get it anymore. They have to earn it. I'm about sick and tired of supporting people who won't get up in the morning, who don't get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and work till well after the sun's gone down for something that they can have pride in of their very own. And it's frustrating to hear them going after the man that's actually doing it for us.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating, and I'm not going to stand around and let them do it. If I'm around people who are yelling and screaming about it, I don't get in a screaming match. I know my points. I know my truths, and I tell them, and I walk away. Let them throw a fit. Let them be the baby. I got better things to do.
Amen. All right, Riley. Well, it's always good to hear from you, my dear friend. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for your call.
You too.
Thank you. You know, I was thinking when I was rehashing some of the things about Kathy Griffin and her holding a severed, bloody head that represented President Trump. And I thought, kind of like what Riley just said a moment ago, that this kind of thing wouldn't have happened during the Obama administration. Well, let's digress a little bit. Let's go back. I think it was about 2012, I believe. I could be wrong on the year. There was an amateur rodeo clown back in Missouri that was using and by the way, you could buy them in the stores. There was nothing illicit or illegal about having one, processing one, or whatever. They were made by a rubber company that makes masks of famous personalities. They've done it of Bush. They've done it of Clinton and Hillary, everything. But they had a rubber mask of Barack Obama. I have one. It is right behind my left shoulder if you're looking on the television cameras on the internet right now. Well, this amateur rodeo clown back in Missouri had the mask of Barack Obama in the arena, and there were some pranks and some laughs and giggles and everything. Oh, the Obama administration and others came down on this clown. And the young man's career was absolutely destroyed. I believe from some of the reading that I had, he could no longer work any rodeos in the state of Missouri because of just having that mask of Barack Obama. But Kathy Griffin holds a severed, bloody head in representation of Donald Trump and his demise. And she gets a promotion. I mean, this is so laughable about how, not a double standard, like I said a moment ago, it's a quadruple standard against conservatives or any train of thought in that vein. And I think it's time to fight back a little bit. It is past time to fight back a little bit. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was listening to the news last night about that tragedy, and it was a horrendous crime about the video gamer that lost at that video competing championship in Jacksonville. And he went out and got a gun, and he came back, and he started shooting people. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a few moments. But first of all, let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this Kathy Griffin deal, she went over the top. She was basically saying
she wanted Trump beheaded.
Yeah.
And for the liberals, they're holding her up, but the conservatives, we need to stand up, and anything Kathy Griffin has to do with, we need to just not even participate or even spend a penny to promote it.
Well, I totally agree with you, Doug, but I personally, I don't understand how the networks and the executives could look at this situation and not have any feeling of what's right and what's wrong and elevate her position and create a bigger opportunity for her.
Well, their hatred of this man that's in the presidency, President Trump, their hatred of him goes way beyond any common sense that you could use running a business.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the NFL where they're kneeling. They're hurting their own business, and I like what Mr. Brown said this morning.
I'm chuckling, Doug. I'm chuckling because the minute I heard they were going to interview Jim Brown, Hall of Famer, Cleveland Browns, great running back, I stopped dead in my tracks, and I turned right back and went to the television. Go ahead.
You bet. Because the man said it like it is. He said these black millionaire athletes need to be thankful to the white people who buy the tickets and fill the stands to pay their wages. They should be thankful for the white people during the Civil War who was willing to give their lives so their ancestors could be free.
That's right.
And not be slaves.
You know, and when I listened to him, I thought, wait a minute. Let's not use him on television as a headshot and a commentary. Let's put him right there in the locker rooms, whether it's at the Miami Dolphins, whether it's with the Philadelphia Eagles, whatever it is, with the teams that have created the most furor of kneeling. And let's have Jim Brown walk right up to the locker of some of these overpaid, underworked millionaires and look him in the eye and tell him what he thinks of them.
Exactly. And he did basically on the news, and I loved it. I just applauded the man.
Absolutely.
And then what's that one ESPN where they're not sports anymore, they're political hacks?
Oh, this was absolutely outrageous to hear that they would go after and attack Tiger Woods for his saying very professionally, I respect the office of the presidency of the United States. And they have grilled him over this.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they're saying he's not black.
Yeah.
He was black when he was arrested for being under the influence of some medication, but he's not black now.
I tell you, it's just a deplorable situation as to what's going on in this country, and the hating, and I'm going to lay this out on the table. I know I got another call waiting, standby caller. The hating of Caucasians, and somebody out there in the audience are going to say, oh, they don't hate you white people. Yes, they do. There is a hatred that's brewing in this country that's being nurtured, and more matches are being struck, even by whites that want to join in on the left wheel that says we're going to roll over everybody.
Exactly. And they're pushing for another civil war.
Yep.
That's exact. They're pushing us to our limit. And once you wake up a sleeping dog, you're going to get bit.
I couldn't agree more. And Doug, thank you so much for that. Give us quickly a less than 15 seconds. Go ahead real fast.
Got it, sir. Yeah, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. Remember, they built this country and their sweat. So let's take care of them. It's time for us to step up and do our share.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you. God bless you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. It's the Yummy Man.
Hello, Yummy Man. Go ahead, please.
Well, today we're having barbecue chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy. Maybe it's baked potatoes. I don't know. Mixed vegetables, cherry cobbler. Now tomorrow, it's roast beef and mixed vegetables.
Oh.
And yummy dessert.
Now, tomorrow, what kind, I'm going to put you on the spot here, what kind of yummy dessert?
They didn't know. decided yet.
They've got so many yummies to choose from.
That's right.
Okay.
Anybody that wants a meal to take out, you don't have to be a senior, any age, just call in 208-878-8646, and they'll have it ready for you.
Joe, I appreciate it. Joe Taylor, the yummy man at the Senior Junction. Thank you so much, my dear friend. God bless you. Thank you. All right, sir. All right. Good guy right there, Joe Taylor. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think it is tomorrow. We're going to have my good old buddy Jerry Zollinger on the air. We're going to be talking about the Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch 30th Annual Production Sale coming up on September 8th with the preview at 10 a.m. in the morning, sale at 11, up at the ranch, 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. And what more can I say? These are top-notch horses that have been bred and raised in the high desert country. They know exactly where to pick their feet up and what to put their feet down on. These are good working horses, excellent minds, conformation, and an abundance of color. For more information, contact Jerry at 670-3833. Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch 30th Annual Production Sale coming up on September 8th. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Good morning again. I just thought of a real comparison and see what you think about it. You know, you get on an airplane, and it's taxiing down the runway, and all of a sudden, you see an old friend you haven't seen for a long time, and you're really excited about it, and his name is Jack. Hi, Jack. And immediately everything begins. They turn the plane around and go park it, and you're put in handcuffs and escorted away. Now, the same thing with Kathy Griffin. But the main thing is this disgusted Madonna who goes and says things about the White House. She wishes she could blow it up and nothing will happen to her.
Yeah.
Double standard all the way.
Well, you know, your analogy actually happened a couple of times with the yelling of that word on an aircraft or getting into the concourse area. But I'm just absolutely sickened by the fact that Roseanne, what she said was wrong. I never advocated what she said was correct in any way, shape, or form. But what she did was minuscule compared to the others that did some heinous acts and then were elevated to higher, more paying positions. Keith, thank you for calling back. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, sir. I was talking a moment ago about video gamers, and I was absolutely shocked last night when I was listening to one of the reporters say that some of these, I guess they call themselves professional gamers. They are on that video screen playing video games between 12 and 15 hours a day. Let me sink that in just a little bit. 12 to 15 hours a day. There is no human interaction. There is basically no responsible behavior. They are totally addicted to that game, winning that game, and sitting there, and this kind of idiocy is destroying our society. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Along that line, so many, the latest addiction is, and has been for a little while, is addicted to these phones. These, the kids, young people, and adults too, they get on those phones, play games, whether it's Candy Crush or whatever it is, and they just spend hours and hours, and then either that or text messaging. But the reason I call, I picked up the Times News, and Jim Jones, former resident of Eden, I don't know where he's living today. There's no contact information for him, but he's become a full-fledged Democrat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yep.
And he's out there. He's been beating up on Trump, his article today is just totally nonsense in the sense that he's defending Mueller and that witch hunt, and he's not calling it a witch hunt. But what really got to me, I guess, was when he starts quoting from William Ruckelshaus. Now, most people out there don't know that name, who's a Republican. He was the first EPA administrator. He came from the World Wildlife Fund, and he was the one with a stroke of a pen, after not attending any hearings, supposedly never reading any of the 9,000 pages of transcripts of the hearings on DDT and the chlorinated hydrocarbons. His stroke of a pen banned DDT, the chlorinated hydrocarbons, and confined millions of people worldwide to die from malaria.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's, these are the kind of people that have destroyed this country, and nobody knows about it. And just a point, I was on a task force with the company that produced a compound that was a soil insecticide for corn. It was their main source of income. But once that decision was rendered, my job disappeared, and that's the reason I ended up in Magic Valley.
Well, let me...
with the seed company here.
Let me interrupt you for a second, Adrian. I think, for the sake of time, I need you to address this real quick. You are a scientist that really understands this far more than someone that has been on the Supreme Court, etc. Carbon dioxide, I think, is taking a bad rap in our society. I think that we are being told that clean energy costs are now competitive with fossil fuels, and they are not, and they probably never will be. And some of these people, including Jim Jones, are spreading false information purely underneath the leftist doctrine. And I, too, am shocked that Jim has chosen that path to go down.
Well, when he was Attorney General in the state of Idaho, he allowed the feds, the federal food and drug people, the Gestapo, to come in here, and actually a good friend of mine was a naturopath, and he was using different techniques than the AMA normal procedures of doctors and alternative medicine, let's put it that way. And, he was having very good success, including my dad. My dad, I think he gave him an extra 3-4 years when he came here and treated him for a period of time. And I can tell you, his Gestapo, he allowed the Gestapo to come in here. They raided his office right here in Twin Falls, across from Smith's Food King in Twin on Addison, and during business hours, and they cleaned the place out. And I know this from a first-hand person that was actually there being treated, was run out. They cleaned out the office, took all the plaques off the wall, confiscated all his records. I mean, that's the kind of Gestapo. And Jim Jones later told me that was a big mistake. Well, he was running for Congress. We made sure that he did not, those of us that exposed what he had done, and he never became a congressman. And because he was in the primary and he got defeated, he told me that was a bad decision.
Well, let me jump in here because Adrian, let me jump in a little bit because I've got to get in for a weather forecast.
But
okay.
Bottom line is he's become a real rhino, Republican name only, and so his article appears every week, and it's beat up on Trump or some leftist cause that he's been picking up the banner, and so I'm very disappointed in Jim Jones, and I think you realize what he has become.
Well, I will agree with you that your disappointment is shared by many others that I know personally that also know Jim. And some of his articles, like he had one, I think it was a week ago, about ethnic cleansing and all this. I'm very disturbed and disgusted by some of his writing. But by the other hand and other token, he has every right to his free speech and his moment of glory, I guess. Adrian, I've got to get a weather forecast on here. I always appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Well, you bet. Well, have a good day.
All right, sir.
Definitely need to be vigilant, but people
change. I think McCain was the same thing. He was quite conservative, very Goldwater conservative, and then he became what he became. So anyway, he was a great patriot in many ways, but I disagreed with a lot of his decisions.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Weather forecast brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, of course, they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call. I want you to write this number down. Take a big magic marker and put it across the side of your refrigerator. Oh, your wife would love that. Anyhow, the number is 312-0957. Call them for a hearing screening today for better health and better hearing. Absolutely. They can help. They will help. Two doctors, Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell, there to serve you. And Dr. Pickup has written a book called Communication Tips for Happier Relationships, and I urge you to get that book. And all you have to do is go to Mount Harrison on the website /radio, go to the request portion, and they will send you a copy. And it's a really nice paperback book, and it gives different communication tips as to how to live with hearing loss. Is challenging, but there's a lot of tips to help you. Great little book from Christine Pickup, Dr. Pickup. Call them for an appointment today at 312-0957. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
For once, we can actually see the mountains for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at mostly sunny skies for today. The air quality advisory has been lifted, which is very, very wonderful. Expecting a high of 72, slightly breezy, winds out of the east, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, sunny and 80, expecting an overnight low of 52 for Wednesday night. Thursday, mostly sunny and 82. By Friday, expecting sunny skies, mid-70s. Then for Saturday, back up to about 80. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call for a hearing screening appointment. And somebody said to me the other day, does it hurt? I said, no, I had fun with it. It was a lot of fun, but very informative and very helpful. Call today, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I really would like your opinion as far as parents are concerned out there in the audience. I mean, when I heard on the television story about that shooter in Jacksonville, he spent a minimum of between 12 to 15, maybe even longer hours per day sitting in front of that video screen playing those games. His mind must have been it had to be like Jell-O. And we've created this problem. Mike Rowe, you probably saw him on television many, many times talking about, he had that TV show called Dirty Jobs. But Mike was ahead of his time in telling everybody, get those kids off those doggone computers and away from those video games. Get them outside. Let them get dirty. Let them get a fat lip from running into a tree. Let them get skinned up a little bit. Let them be kids, but let them help them to grow up. And, you know, we're so protective in this society. But actually, you're doing 10 times the harm by letting these kids sit indoors, no fresh air, and just have their eyes glued to a screen. I just can't imagine 12 to 15 hours a day. And basically eating nothing more than reaching over and unwrapping a cupcake. Because you got to stay in tune with these ridiculous games. There are even parents that are hiring, and I'm not making this up, there are even parents that are hiring coaches, professional coaches, to come into their home and teach their kids how to be better gamers. I couldn't possibly make that up. What in the heck is wrong with our society? Well, there's a pretty good clue right there. Parents, shut down these items. Take away the smartphones, whatever. Take them away. Buy them a doggone, what's that one on television called a Cricket? You can call on it and get calls and that's it. That's what we need to all get back to. We wouldn't have all the identity theft and everything else. It's just that we have let technology run us instead of us running the technology. I'm so blessed that my grandsons, Toby's boys, man, they are so in tune to not only their sports programs, but also their studies, but also they're avid outdoorsmen. And I just thank God Nick and Toby really, they handled it the right way. And I'll tell you what, these parents that are letting their kids just basically vegetate inside of a home or a building or whatever, it's absolutely creating a big negative in our entire society. Caller, good morning. Do you agree with me or not?
Zeb, this is Earl Worthen.
Yes, sir.
I missed what you were talking about, but what I was going to suggest or say was a lot of the problems probably being brought on in our country today is essentially foreign ownership of our networks. And I wonder if it all leads back to that. Other countries, the communistic countries, they only had one network that kept pounding in the same kind of attitude into people.
Yeah, they were brainwashed.
Yeah, and I see the same thing happening here. And when these foreign companies started buying into our networks, 40 years ago, I hate to say this, but I could see it coming.
Yeah.
Man, and here we are today.
I just can't imagine growing up and being glued to a video screen for even an hour. Man, I love to get outside. I love to do things outside. I like to go hunting. I like to go fishing. I love to ride horses. I love to do all kinds of things. These kids are just nothing more than little 8x12 living in cubicles glued to a screen.
Well, Zeb, we get out, we lead by example in this country, or we should be leading by example.
Yeah.
In front of God and everybody.
I agree with that, Earl, and I always look forward to having you call in. I hope you have a blessed day. I got another call waiting. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, it's sure nice to see the hills today.
Yes, it is. I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, morning, Zeb.
Yes.
Is subliminal information still being used? That computer could be a perfect way to use it and program these kids to be just about anything they want them to be.
Oh, it could, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I really think that's what's going on now. And there's somebody out there is using it to program a bunch of kids, young kids, to become a bunch of killers.
And let me ask you something, though. Tony, you're a little bit older than I am, and you've been around the horn a couple of times. Could you imagine, right now at your age, sitting down from 8 o'clock in the morning until maybe 10 or 11 at night doing nothing but playing those video games?
Not with my parents. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The club would be out, and I'd be out doing something.
Absolutely. We've just lost touch with these kids, and it's not the kids' fault. It's our fault. We haven't learned how to say no. Tony, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, sir. I want to be sure and mention our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And I'm really proud of what they do. They absolutely are waiting right there, right now, as a matter of fact, to make sure that if you're going to go on a road trip, that you've got the best of tires for your car, your pickup, your SUV, or your camp trailer, horse trailer, whatever. Many of the tires are on sale, so get in there and check it out. Now, along with going on a road trip, you better have your brakes checked, and they have the highly trained brake technicians at all 7 locations, along with also the front end alignments and the shocks and the struts, and then, of course, you got to make sure you got a good battery. Yep, a lot lot of things to check on, and they will, and they can help you. All 7 locations, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, the best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Hey, we'll continue this conversation a little bit this next hour at 9:06. Why? Because my guest didn't show up. So we'll see you in 7 minutes. Don't go away. Morning. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I mentioned this first hour, and I go through probably, along with my lovely bride, we go through about maybe 20 to 30 different companies and different individuals that help us book various guests for this program. And I'm really fussy about the guests that I get on this show. And we had a gentleman that was scheduled to come on this half hour and talk about the 3D gun issue. And it was all set, cut and dried ink, ready for the day. And then all of a sudden, at the last minute this morning, there was a cancellation. So I apologize to you, the audience, for not having a guest for this half hour. So your calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, can we hear this good word for Western Waste Services, please?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, a lot of people, including myself, I'm looking at this office and I'm going, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff. Well, there's an idea, and a great idea, too, to call Western Waste Services and rent one of the Go Mini portable storage units. They come in various sizes. They'll bring one over. You fill it up. You can lock it up, leave it right on your property, or they'll take it back and put it and store it in the safe compound of their property. So remember, just give them a call and find out more. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. It is time for you to give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. During the news, I was going to try to call somebody, and I didn't get it done, and talk to them about some of the video games. But I was talking last hour, for those of you that are just sitting down, tuning us in for the first little bit, the video gamers. And this 24-year-old, I believe he's 24-year-old, shooter down in Jacksonville, Florida, that had been beaten on a video game, and for reasons that I don't know, and I don't think hardly anybody else does, left the gaming facility. It was a championship, and went and got a gun and came back and started shooting people. And I maintain that we're going to see more of this, not less, because these people that are so dedicated and so engrossed in sitting and playing video games, like I said last hour, some of the response was yesterday that some of these people play from 12 to 15 to maybe more hours a day, non-stop. They may have a sandwich or a Hostess Twinkie sitting next to them. That's their only meal. They won't get up and they won't quit. They're addicted. They don't have any responsible behavior, and they don't have any kind of human interaction. They are absolutely addicted to sitting in front of that screen and trying to beat the video game. Wow. And it's not just in small numbers. Very unfortunately, like I said, our society is, what's the word, not allowing, but we're advocating for this kind of lifestyle. And we're not saying no to our kids. We're not saying no to our grandkids. And we're letting them just be enveloped in this lifestyle and not getting to know the real them or the outside or fresh air. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous, and parents should be shutting down or limiting the playing time of these foolish, and they are, games. Now, somebody will say, well, yeah, but nowadays they can make a living trying to play video games, and there's video coaches and everything else. I still maintain it's a frivolous, stupid way to run your life. In the dark caverns of your basement for 12 to 15 or more hours a day, you're not going to change my mind. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yeah. Am I obsessed by watching? Geez, I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but I'm going to have to call you back.
All right. Thank you, caller. I appreciate it. You're VoIPing out a little bit there. I appreciate it. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, I know what's going on out there in some locations of our area. They're going, that old man, he doesn't understand what's going on at all. It's the new age. It's the new way. And then this old man will say, bunk. I don't believe it. I maintain that you have to develop human interaction. You have to work with people. You have to shake hands with people. You have to converse with people. You have to develop responsible behavior to be a part of society. You can't just languish in the dark confines of a basement wearing your thumbnails out. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away, please. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with our dear friend Joel Heward, the manager, along with his family and his staff, serving you and your family. And believe me, they provide the families they serve the best possible support and comfort, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember the number 436-5636. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know, I remember a few years ago when my grandchildren were younger and you'd have problems with your computer, I would have to call one of them to come and straighten things out. I'm not a computer person, so I'm really not involved in that. My wife is to a certain extent. But the point is, these children learn at a very, very young age. Now, I have one son who has 5 daughters. And you know, now the youngest one is a cheerleader at junior high, and the rest of have been taking dance since they were little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they've really excelled in what they do, and they are also A students. And so they get out and they exercise and they do things like they're supposed to. I criticize my daughter-in-law because, you know, it costs a lot of money to have them dance lessons and everything. But by gosh, I've got to retract on that and say, good job. Well
Absolutely. Done. You know, Keith, I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care whose toes I step on. You can't just limit yourself to being and residing in the confines of a dark, dreary office or a basement or whatever and just playing video games. That's not a life. I know of a boy that absolutely got up in the morning at maybe 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't get dressed, stayed in his pajamas, and stayed downstairs playing these stupid, frivolous video games until late at night, and then crawled back in the covers and went to sleep. What a disgusting, despicable life.
I agree with you there, and I think interacting with other children your age, in other words, like taking my daughter-in-law's advice and intermingling with other kids that have a goal in life already. Now, I don't think much of having a dance career, but it sure has well-rounded them.
Well, I agree. I think there's so many things that, as you use the terminology, well-rounded. I think one of the things that we've got away from is music, and that's a shame. I think music, whether it's playing the guitar, the piano, or the trombone, doesn't make any difference to me. Music has been overlooked, and I think that's a shame. Keith, I got to run. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right. Thank you, sir. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, and I know there are parents out there that are going to wrinkle their nose at me. That's fine. But why can't you just say no? Why can't you just say, Johnny and Susie, get outside. Johnny and Susie, here's some chores for you to do. Johnny and Susie, go to the park. Johnny and Susie, get on your horses and ride. Johnny and Susie, do something. You've got to get away from that shallow-minded video game and what it's going to do to your body, what it's going to do to your future, and what it's going to do to your personality. That's my feeling, and I'm not going to weaken on it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. I think anything in music...
Stop right there, caller. Stop. I know who this is, and I know what I forgot to do the first hour. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sharon. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, back to our topic. You changed the topic.
I'm all worn out.
Anyway, the thing is with any of these music things that the kids do, it teaches them counting. It teaches them having to do something outside their own comfort zone. It teaches them that they have to work with others. There are so many aspects in music, in any form of music, whether it be dance or whatever. And I know a lot of people think that dance is not something that they should do because they can't use it later in life. But it is, that basic is there. And so they can use it later in life. In fact, one thing that they can always take with them is any training in music, where sports, not necessarily. You're not going to be able to play football as an old man, but you can still play or listen or appreciate music.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You just said something that I think needs to have a little bit of dialogue here. Do you remember the very famous Hall of Famer from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Lynn Swann, great wide receiver? Remember him?
Yep.
Okay. Guess what he took when he was a younger boy? He took ballet and dance lessons, and he said when he became a Hall of Famer that a lot of the moves and the strength that he gained from that made him a better wide receiver in the NFL.
Exactly. That taught that muscle skill, that toning of those muscles, that brain connection that you need to have, that you're not going to get playing the video game.
Okay,
you're going to have the thumb working really, really well, but other than that, you're not going to have that connection that you need to have that you can gain through music, or whether it be dance or whatever.
Well, let me ask you this, caller, and Sharon, I hope you have a wonderful birthday, but what in the world are we teaching these kids by letting them go to the basement or go to their room for 12 or 15 hours a day to be professional gamers? I mean, what kind of personality, what kind of human interest traits, what kind of associates are they going to have as far as being able to shake hands with people and carry on a legitimate conversation? We're teaching them to be video zombies.
Well, number one, that's an addiction. First of all, that's an addiction, and people need to understand it. It is an addiction. Number two, it's all part of the program in getting them to be unattached to anything else that's going on, be sensitized to life and the value of life, and then programming them that what comes on that video subliminally can go into that little brain, and they can be taught without being something in front of their face, that subliminal message, they can be taught to do whatever needs to be done in a cruel way in life later on.
I couldn't agree more, but it all boils back down to the fact that parents are not supposed to be friends with their kids. They're supposed to be parents and say no and mean it.
Yep, that is not meant to be the babysitter, catch-all, throw them in the basement like you say, and that be all they do. There needs to be limits on that. In fact, you'll find that parents who start limiting kids who have had free reign on a video, that kid will be absolutely rebellious. They will have withdrawal. There will be issues with that child not having that fix, and that's why I say it is an addiction.
Okay.
And the parent has to be tough and say, you can only have 1 hour on that video game. When the timer goes off, it's unplugged.
Amen.
I don't care if you're in the middle of the game or not. I don't care if you've saved it at that particular level or spot. You're done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I thank you so much, and I certainly hope you have a happy, happy birthday.
I will, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436. Now that I've made probably a lot of people mad, I'm not in this business to make, this sounds callous, but think about it for a minute. I'm not in this business to make friends. I'm in this business to give an honest appraisal about stories, circumstances, politics, and what's happening in the world to you so that you can make your own decision. If I step on somebody's toes, maybe they shouldn't have been on the dance floor in the first place. Caller, I'll be right there. Listen, I want to tell you about my dear friend Anthony over at Save on Shells, 1027 Overland and Burley. And believe me, and I mean this, take it from me, I needed a new camper shell for my pickup, and I ordered one of the new ARE shells from Anthony. Whoa, they do a wonderful job. Absolutely. You stop in at 1027 Overland and Burley, or give Anthony a call at 312-1525. That number again, 312-1525. Save on Shells. Absolutely the best of the campers and the best of absolute service from Anthony. Good old boy. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have an opinion about these things on the little video things that all they do is that. I think that there is a certain amount of parents in our society that don't want to be bothered by their kids. And so guess what? They'll get them these games, and they can play on them, and then we don't have to pay much attention to them, and they're occupied. And you know what? That's just what's wrong, because I doubt that there's too many of those games that are not doing something about fighting or, some kind of thing that gets so instilled in their mind that they're ruled by those thoughts.
No, you bring up an excellent point, and one that Sharon talked about just a few moments ago, is that, these video games and these gamers, if you will, it's turned into kind of a in-house babysitting service. Where's Johnny? Well, he's downstairs in the basement. He's been there since 8 o'clock this morning. He's playing his video games, and it's kind of a babysitting comfort for the parents to realize the kid's not going to leave. He's going to stay in the basement. They can go do what they want to. I agree with you.
Uh-huh. Well, and I think that I really admire the young parents. Most of them are holding down a job, both of them, and yet when it comes to their kids, they want their kids to be whatever they can be, and they really push them. And, I think some of these parents do so much for their children that some of these kids are not even aware of how lucky they are. But if the parents can keep their children busy, and especially if it's busy with good things, that in their soul is changing them. I think it's so sad that some kids just have to, or the parents,
yeah,
to think that they can't take care of their kids. They'll just put them in front of a TV set.
I agree with you, Chris. It's always good to hear from you. God bless you. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I tell you what, behind my back, sometimes people say, oh, he's always bragging about his kids. Or he's always bragging about his grandkids. Yeah, I am. Am I going to change? No. I'm going to keep on bragging about my kids, and I'm going to keep on bragging about my grandkids. My grandboys, when they come over here, they go around no matter who's here. If we have a little roping and a little family barbecue or whatever, when they get here, they go around, they shake hands with everybody and say, hi, how you doing? That's personality. That's outgoing personality to where people say, well, hi, Dawson, Jackson, Jacob, how you doing? They're not going to sit in a basement for 15 hours a day and throw their life away playing a stupid, frivolous video game. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn, and they absolutely are a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they serve them all. Absolutely. And don't forget to get the ID tags for your pets. They've got them over there, and absolutely will maybe help you in keeping your pet. Maybe if there's a thunderstorm with lightning and everything else, my goodness. And another thing, too, don't forget that you need to watch out for the cheatgrass and the foxtails. Get under the skin of your pet, and then you've got all kinds of trouble. They care. They take care of your pets and your animals at Ark Animal Hospital. Over in Hayburn, 750 21st Street, and the number 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Really good folks. I got time for another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Just tell the kids no. Set some parameters and say, yeah, you can go play that video game. You've got exactly 30 minutes. Or you've got exactly an hour, and then Dad or I are going to come down there, and we're going to shut it off. Maybe you can play again tomorrow. Maybe not, if you got chores to do. But you got to learn to say no to this kind of foolishness because they need to work. Oh, and some of the Dr. Spockish types go, oh, child abuse, you're making your children work. Darn right. And they'll be better off for it. Caller, hang on. I want to remind everybody about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, it's time. It is time to think about the beautification and the comfort of your home going into the fall. You're going to be doing a lot more indoor activities, so be ready. They've got the best of carpet buys, and they've got the best of all the window coverings, and they've got the best of all the mattresses for a good night's sleep. And the very best of all, the recliners. My goodness, what are you waiting for? Jump in the pick-em-up truck or the car. Head on in to 459 Overland in Burley now. Jeff and the crew, they can and they will help you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering if I'm wasting my life listening to 400 episodes of Gunsmoke.
Listening or watching?
Listening.
Okay,
show.
You know, really, let me ask you a question right there. I know you're trying to be a little bit facetious, but is that all you do is just sit in the house and listen to 400 episodes of Gunsmoke? Yeah, I'm going to say that you're absolutely ruining your life, ruining your perspective on life, and I don't have much respect for somebody that would do that.
Well, it took over a month to do it.
It's a month out of your life for what?
Well, to find out what Chester's last name is. What is it?
Chester Good.
No.
It is too.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's Proudfoot.
No, you're wrong. It was Chester Good. Look it up, and you'll find out that I'm right.
Well, you look it up, and you'll find out I'm right.
Well, I tell you what, we got a difference of opinion, but if you'll go to any one of the episodes of Gunsmoke, when he's introduced by Matt or Miss Kitty, it's Chester Good, Goode, and you look it up, my friend.
Well, evidently they changed his name for TV. I'm talking about the radio show.
Well, I don't know about the radio show, and I couldn't care less about it. I'm telling you that on the network TV show that was produced back in the 60s, Gunsmoke, with James Arness and Dennis Weaver as Gunsmoke, when they introduced him on the show, it always was, even in the credits after the show was over, Chester Good.
Well, in the 400 I listened to, it was Proudfoot.
All right, well, you just go look, and you'll find out that maybe we're both right, and maybe there was a change, but I know that on the TV version it was Chester Good. Thank you for your call.
Okay, bye.
All right, sir. I'm not going to weaken on that. Chester Good was the name. Now, whether they used Proudfoot at another time, I don't care, but I know on the TV series he was introduced as Chester Good. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and they're having a big blowout sale right now on the watercraft. Oh, can you save money? That's the name of the game, and then have a lot of fun. So be sure and check it out at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and the number to call, 436-4771. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Got the best in accessories and a super great service department to keep you running. Stop over and see them at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Wheels, do I have another caller? I forgot if I heard the cow or not.
No, you're okay.
Oh, I'm okay. Well, I'm. You mean I'm okay if I didn't hear the cow, and I'd be mentally unbalanced if I did?
Not exactly.
Oh, okay. Thank you for helping me on that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The NFL is making another edict. In other words, they're sticking their tail between their legs and going to change the edict they had about the national anthem. And the NFL cowardly says, oh, we're going to talk to the Players Association and the Players Union and some of the player spokesmen and everything. I'm sick of this. Make an edict, stand for the national anthem, show respect for our flag and our country, or stay in the doggone locker room. Don't make a negative display out of the national anthem. Now, that's not just me talking. One of the greatest football players of all time, bar none, Jim Brown. I mean, tackling him, they said, was comparable to trying to tackle a tank, a Sherman tank. Hall of Famer Jim Brown. And he absolutely said, and I listened to this quotation this morning with great interest, that when it comes to the blacks showing disrespect for our national anthem and our country, Jim Brown, oh, by the way, he's black also, said that they'd better wake up and understand that it was white people, Caucasians. You heard Doug talking about this in the first hour, that gave their lives for the blacks and their movement in this country to be bigger, better, and stronger. And he said, I stand for the national anthem and our Pledge of Allegiance. I just wish, honestly, that someone like Jim Brown could go in, like I said earlier this morning, into the locker rooms and visit with these young punks that are making $17, $20 million contracts and look them in the eye and say, what are you, stupid or something? Stand for the flag and the anthem of a country that basically is making you a multimillionaire. I really, really support what Jim Brown said. And the way I'm going to handle this NFL season this year is, if the cowardly networks like ESPN don't shelter the national anthem, they won't show it, in other words, so you don't know who sat or who kneeled. ESPN's a bunch of cowards. Honestly, ESPN is made up of a bunch of left-wing nut cowards. Now, whether it's CBS or whether it's the Fox network or NBC, and if they cover the national anthem, I'm going to damn and condemn them. But if the teams are shown during a national anthem and they kneel or take a seat during the anthem, I will never watch a game with that team playing again. Conversely, if I see a national anthem where both teams and all their representatives on the field stand proudly and put their hand over their heart and respect the flag, I'll watch that game. That's where I'm at. I had somebody ask me about that the other day, as to where I'm at on the NFL with the anthem and the kneeling and the sitting, and am I going to not watch every game? No, I'm not going to blame every team, and I'm not going to blame every game. If they take a knee or sit down during the anthem, bang, TV goes off. If there are teams that respect our country and what it can do and is doing for them, I'll sit and watch that game. And I think the ratings are going to show that my opinion on this is probably going to be accepted by a lot of people across the board. There are those of us that think the NFL is changing from the National Football League to the meaning of the letters NFL not for long, if they keep up this idiocy of trying to appease these players that are working on a contract, and the contract is a huge $1 million contract. Do what the owner says. Stand up, get your butt off the pine, and pay respect to our flag. I have never been a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I am now because of Jerry Jones' attitude. And I hope they maintain that. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, or employee benefits, don't forget the very best working and serving you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number to call to make an appointment is 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. They are dedicated and accessible to serving you, the professionals, at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, in this country, we've got to stop worrying about making people mad because of worrying about their thoughts. Oh, gee, I don't want to say anything because somebody might get mad at me. I might lose a friend. Really? You got to stand up for what's right. Standing up for our country, standing up for our flag, standing up for our anthem is what's right. And these many-minded creeps that take a knee or sit down, I have no time for them. I have no time for them. And I agree with Donald Trump in its entirety. Fire them. Clean out their locker and tell them, adios, don't let the doorknob hit you in the posterior on the way out. There has to be rules and regulations. When you work for somebody, they're the boss. Why is it different when you're playing for somebody like Green Bay or Dallas, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh? They've got an owner, they've got a boss. You stand, and you don't make any waves. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another story I wanted to mention this morning because it's absolutely chilling, and it shows how ridiculous and wary I am of the left and their idiocy. Dana Lash, outspoken critic of the left and a member of the NRA and a spokesperson for the NRA, her kids got death threats. Can you imagine? Her children received death threats because of Dana and her husband's stand for the NRA and principles on the right, conservative principles, and they're standing up and supporting Trump. Twitter should have taken down these death threats immediately. They did not. And this is the kind of incompetency led by a bunch of bozos that shouldn't be in charge of anything. But making a death threat to someone's child because you disagree with them politically? How low can the left go? How low? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, when you're running out of things to worry about, snow in Montana. Lots of it. Snow and cold has already hit the state of Montana. And as I said a couple of weeks ago on this program, I think we're going to have an early fall and an early winter. I'll stand behind those words. Caller, good morning. I've got about 3 minutes left in the segment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I sat in on a jury years ago, and there was a gun involved in that and everything, and the judge come back and talked to us and asked us about if we'd ever been threatened or if we were worried, about our lives and the decisions and choices that we were making on the jury. And that's one of the things I told him. I said, nope. I says, I'm not worried. I says, I got a gun, and it's locked and loaded. Bring it on, And I understand it's different because this is their kids, but
yeah,
we do need to take a stand and stand up for what we think's right.
And I'm so glad you called on this, but people today, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying factions of people, they won't stand for anything. And I revert back to Aaron Tippett's country song, if you can't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it looks like the people on the left are falling for the hogwash that's being fed to them.
I agree. All right. Thank you.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Appreciate your call. Right now, we're going to have a weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by our friends at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, and the list goes on and on with services that they provide for you. And, oh, by the way, Leiden talked to me, Leiden Crane, and there's been some changes with the tax rates and the deductions, so you better check it out on behalf of you, your family, and your business. Get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
For once, we can actually see the mountains for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at mostly sunny skies for today. The air quality advisory has been lifted, which is very, very wonderful. Expecting a high of 72, slightly breezy, winds out of the east, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, sunny and 80, expecting an overnight low of 52 for Wednesday night. Thursday, mostly sunny and 82. By Friday, expecting sunny skies, mid-70s. Then for Saturday, back up to about 80. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by some people that really care and can help you, your family, and your business with the accounting services you need. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Really top-notch professional people. Holy cow, when I say top-notch professional people, I'm talking also about some other good folks. Stoats Equipment, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley, and the store manager, Vic, good guy, knows all about all the equipment, everything that's going on in the world of agriculture. At Stoats Equipment Company, they make your life easier. And right now, Vic, good morning at Stoats Equipment. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, did you make it through all the cotton candy and the maple bars and the hot dogs and everything else?
Yeah, I think I had it about 5 pounds. There's nothing better than a warm maple bar, and that's part of the value of living here in this great community is there's just so many things to, wholesome, good qualities that there's really no reason to leave the Minicash area just because there's so much to offer right here locally.
It's really true. And what did you find out by visiting with people over at the various fairs? I mean, what are some of the things that they wanted to talk to you about?
Well, the good thing about the fair is that it puts us in touch with so many different people from different walks of life. And, the thing is we're open to everybody, whether you're a weekend warrior, as we like to say, and you just need a compact, or you have a mower problem, or you have a big farm equipment and you're not sure exactly what machine you need. I mean, we have a lot, and it's not just me. I know quite a bit with my 31 years of experience, but what I don't know, I have plenty of people here that can actually help, and we have a great team here in Burley, so we're very lucky and with a lot of knowledge. And the best thing about them, they're willing to help people.
And the thing is, I would imagine, and Wheels ride the gain on that feedback a little bit over there, if you would, please. Right now, big time of the year. Everybody is geared up, ready, and yell go for harvest time.
Yes, sir. As you can feel this morning, we can feel fall on the air, so that means harvest. And harvest means a lot of dangers on the road. So I wanted to reach out and just let everybody know, to remind everybody to be careful this harvest season with spuds and beets and beans and everything else that's going on. Protect your loved ones and remind them, hey, watch the road, slow down, be careful at nighttime. There's just so much traffic on the roads. And with big equipment, you have the chance of getting into an accident, and none of it's on purpose, but it's amazing how quick it happens and how tragic it can be to the family. So please make sure that we're doing everything we can, wearing your safety belt, making sure that if you don't need to be on the road, you're not, and just keep your eyes open and slow down. That's the biggest thing, just slow down. And being on the fire department as a volunteer for many years, one of the things I always saw, most accidents were all basically because of either lack of attention, in other words, texting on the road, or just speeding and not paying attention. So please remind your loved ones, please remind your workers, and just everybody be safe this harvest season.
And it's going to be a busy time, like you said, not only on the roadways, but in the field. And that's where we talk to you at Stoats Equipment. You literally have equipment for every harvest, every type of crop, correct?
Absolutely. So, and what we don't have with our here at our Burley location with our 25 stores in 8 states, we definitely can find it and get it for you. Our saying is, if it adds value, we're going to have it here, and we won't sell anything we don't feel that adds value to our customers, because we're actually a consultant for our customers and a provider, and we're not in the business to sell, we're in the business to help. and I want to make sure that whatever we do offer to our customers is something that's going to help them in their operations. It's going to be safe. There's plenty of things we do, free inspections for safety whenever we sign you up on a maintenance contract. In other words, we come out to your facility, whether it's a municipality or it's a farm. We service your equipment, and we also go over it with your employees and teach them about safety, because it's amazing how quick a life can end when you get caught in a combine or get in a PTO shaft. It's just a matter of seconds and it's all over. So we want to promote safety.
Absolutely. You know, along with everything that you did at the county fairs and everything representing Stoats Equipment Company, I would imagine that you had a chance to meet a lot of the younger people, maybe teenagers that are bordering and teetering on whether to go into agriculture for a career or not. What were some of the experiences you had meeting some of the young people?
You know, it's always exciting to see that gleam in the eye, and I can remember when I started, my first year and as a technician with the company, and I was just so excited to be part of John Deere, which is a great company and a great line of equipment. But the youth today, you know, their technology is, they're motivated by technology, they're motivated by innovation, and for us to, you know, we need to really take part of that and be part of their lives and show them hopefully the right way. I remember many years I thought my dad was dumb as dirt, but, you know, as I got older, he was actually a pretty smart fella. And so we need to kind of mentor our kids, and as business people and owners and you know, fathers and uncles and everything else that goes along with it, we need to take part of their lives and show them, hey, this is a great place to live. This is a great place to have basically a career, because if you're just looking for a job, Jack in the Box, you know, Taco Bell's hiring, nothing against them. They need people. It's a good start. But if you want a career, there's plenty of great businesses here to help launch that and get you in something you can be proud of and be part of.
Well, not only that, but through Stoats Equipment, like you were telling me a couple of months ago, you really have kind of a mentor program, for lack of better terminology, to help these kids get involved and see the ins and the outs of John Deere equipment, etc., and maybe go on for a great career.
Well, we have an apprenticeship program, so we're one of the first businesses, ag stores, to be a certified apprentice program. So we work with the Department of Labor, and we have two young gentlemen that were hired. One went on to go to school and search of his baseball career, and that's fine. And then we have another young man that's with us now, and he's working out well. But we're calling it Grow Our Own, and we want to make sure that our youth have an opportunity. Because with all of our locations here, we should be self-sufficient. That includes McCain's and Pioneer and Intermountain New Holland and, you know, Agros and everybody else at AgriService, anybody that needs people. Instead of robbing from each other, let's grow our own, let's work together, let's give these young men and women an opportunity to stay home and be part of a great career, a great community, and be proud of where you're at.
One last thing I wanted to mention this morning is that all the folks over at Stoats Equipment, so friendly, so helpful, and if they need a part or something fixed or repaired, you folks are right there to help them.
Yes, sir. In fact, I'm really proud of Jake Timmons and Curtis Timmons, and you know, they're a go-to guy, and they get things done for us. They have that can-do attitude. They're really a big part of the community. Che Courtwright's also a big part of our community, and you know, they all contribute, and they work very hard to be available 24 hours a day to take care of the customer's need. If you need a part, we're there. If you need a piece of equipment because yours is down, we're there. If you need service, we're there. So, you know, these guys are doing a great job, and our store is done well because of them, and it's because of the attitude, and customer service is where it's at. You know, we got to be there for our customers, because they don't need us. So we need them, and that's our attitude here.
I'll tell you what, they're first-class people, and I just love my brand-new John Deere tractor. Thank you, Vic, Stoats Equipment Company, 119 Overland and Burley, your John Deere dealer. Any final thoughts? I got about 15 seconds left this morning, my friend.
Okay. So use all of our networking here. Please be part of our community, the Minnecaja Chamber, BAMA, Minidoka Fair, Cassia County Fair. Be involved, get involved, and help make our community great.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Vic over at Stoats Equipment Company, 119 Overland and Burley, your John Deere dealer. They make your life easier. Thank you very much. I just really enjoy working with those folks, and I love my new John Deere tractor. Yeah, every time Dr. History gets here on Tuesdays, he spends about 30 seconds standing on the porch, just his mouth agape, and he's going, "Oh, I wished I had one. I wished I had one." Well, you can stop over and check it out. Speaking of Dr. History, we are going to have him on the air. I'm going to turn his mic on a little bit early this morning, and I understand that we're going to have a continuing series about Butch Cassidy and his relationship with the Sundance Kid.
Exactly, and I'm excited about this because to me this is the most accurate book I've ever read, and it's written by his great nephew.
Great nephew.
His great grandmother was a sister to Butch Cassidy.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I actually did, after last week, I did email him, and he got back to me and said that he would be glad to come on the show sometime.
Oh, we'll talk about more of that in about 7 minutes. Dr. History coming up next hour. Don't forget our dear friends over at Dino Septic Service. Yes, they do the job that you don't want to do. They come out gladly with smiles on their face, and they pump out all those septic tanks, and the sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, and the liquid waste removal, and the septic inspections. They do it all. And they've recently purchased more equipment, more ability to serve you. All you got to do is call them at 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service. The best. Dino Septic Service. And they'll pull in the yard with that big truck that says, "Smells Cargo on the way." Dino Septic Service. You get a hold of them today. We are going to take a little break. Dr. History and I are going to sit back in the chair, and we're going to kind of talk and visit about the upcoming segment, as a matter of fact. We urge you to leave the dial right where it's at. Zeb at the Ranch on K-Bar. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, wow. Dr. History just came in and he said it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and then he took off his sweater and then he took off his tennis shoes, and that's where I drew the line because the smell was absolutely killing me. I'm kidding. Sorry, Dr. History. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I kid with this man a lot, and we've got a really, really great friendship, but I just absolutely value what he does on behalf of Dr. History. Last week he started, which is going to be kind of a little mini-series about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And last week we kind of met Butch Cassidy. We kind of found out about his history, bringing up his name change and that. Now Dr. History is going to take us a step further.
So this week we're going to talk more about the outlaw part of him, and then next week we will do the conclusion that you have to decide if you think he died in South America or not. So we won't even touch that part today.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So here we are, the Wyoming years, 1889 to 1894. So
you know, really, I got to stop you right there. That's not too long before you and I were born.
Well, you especially. So Butch Parker, he split from his partners, Matt Warner and Tim McCarty, and with the Telluride robbery that they did, this is when Butch really crossed the line from small-time rustler to full-fledged, full-time outlaw, and it was this point he dropped the name Parker. As you recall, folks, his name was Robert Leroy Parker.
Right.
This is where he started using the name Cassidy after his childhood hero, Mike Cassidy. Now, good friend of mine, Dennis Crane. Now, Dennis, I hope you're listening, because he came up to me a couple of days ago and said, I think Butch got his name Butch from working in a butcher shop. And that is quite likely. However, another version is that Butch got his nickname from Matt Warner. Matt Warner had a gun that had such a kick that it was called a Butch. They called the gun Butch. So whether he was named after a gun or after working as a butcher, we don't know. But one or the other. Thanks, Dennis.
Well, Dennis didn't ride with that outlaw band, did he?
He's a year older than me.
I see.
So, yeah. Anyway, so Cassidy spent so little or no time actually in the actual hole-in-the-wall area. He may have passed through the area or stopped to visit a friend, but he did not live there.
I thought he did.
It was later that the media associated Butch Cassidy with the hole-in-the-wall and even creating the outlaw gang named the Hole-in-the-Wall Gang. And there is no actual hole, nor is it a box canyon.
Now you're losing me.
Okay?
Really?
Yeah, the hole was used, though, by two cowboys by the name of Flat-Nose Curry, you've heard of him, and Kid Curry. Those two outlaws, Harvey Logan was Kid Curry. Okay, they used it, but Butch Cassidy really did not use it.
Was there a place hole in the wall or not?
Yeah,
there was.
There's a place,
okay,
but not quite the way Hollywood has done it.
I see.
Now, here we are, 1891. Butch is now 25 years old. He purchased 3 saddle horses and a sorrel, a gray, and a brown from a guy by the name of Billy Nutcher. Now, unfortunately, Butch failed to get a bill of sale when he bought these horses. Well, a complaint was filed. The theft was reported. A posse headed out to Star Valley, Wyoming for Cassidy and his buddy named Heiner, who was his friend. Well, the posse arrested Heiner without incident. They arrested Butch. And actually, in 1894, Butch was put on trial. He was pronounced guilty and was sentenced to the Wyoming State Penitentiary for the term of 2 years of hard labor. So this is his first stint, I guess, basically being in jail. Now, because Butch's prison term was only 2 years, he was not required to work. He was allowed to remain in his cell and could read books from the prison library. Now, a lot of those guys, back then, Zeb, it was years of hard labor where they were actually out breaking rock or whatever.
In the hot sun.
Yeah. But Butch was a model prisoner. However, his sister Lula, now let me go back. Lula is Lula's great-grandson that wrote this book. Okay.
Okay. Let's decide that a little bit. Make it more discerning.
Okay. Bill Bentonson
is the author of the book about the life of Butch Cassidy, and it was his great-grandmother that was a sister to Butch's mother.
No, to Butch.
To Butch.
She was a sister to Butch.
Ah.
Okay. So she was the youngest. He was the oldest.
I see.
So, yeah, Lulu was a sister to Butch Cassidy.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go over to Montpelier, Idaho. You've been there. I've been there. In fact, that's where I got this book. Because they have a little, and I suggest any visitors over there stop in. There's a little museum, a Butch Cassidy museum, that was a bank that Butch robbed.
And you were there.
I went there, and that's where I got this book about Butch, which is the best book I've ever written about it. So, Bill Bentonson, for my listeners, Butch Cassidy, My Uncle. That's the name of the book. So, we're just covering part of this. So, get the book and read it. So anyway, 1896, just 6 months after Butch was released from the Wyoming Territorial Prison, the Lander newspaper reported that Butch was wanted for stealing a herd of cattle. Now, Butch, along with his friends, the guy named Elzie Lay and Bob Meeks, decided to rob a bank. Well, the True considered banks in Logan, Utah and Evanston, Wyoming before deciding on the Montpelier, Idaho bank.
No kidding.
Now, Butch was familiar with the Montpelier area as well as the neighboring area, Cokeville, Wyoming. So it was kind of familiar territory, which would make it maybe more of a enticement to rob that bank.
Okay, now, size-wise, you're talking Montpelier. Evanston was a more established bank. And what was the other one?
Montpelier and Logan.
Logan was
bigger.
sure, larger population.
Right.
Why did they choose Montpelier?
I don't know. I just think it was because he was familiar with the area.
Okay.
So the three bandits, using aliases, which they did a lot back then, the trio stopped at O'Connor Saloon at 2:30 on the afternoon of August 13th, 1896, for a little bit of, I guess you'd call it liquid courage. You had to get yourself tuned up to this, right?
Well, I have no idea.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm.
So they waited for the bank to close, and it had been 7 years since Butch had robbed a bank. So he was okay for a while.
He's a little rusty.
Yeah, but not that bad.
I see.
So just before closing at 3:15 p.m., Butch and Bub Meeks entered the bank. Elzie Lay stayed outside as a lookout. Butch pulled his revolver and demanded access to the area behind the teller's cage. Cassidy quickly entered the vault, gathered the gold and silver. Butch put all the loot in a bag, and they figured it was about $7,000, which is not big, but it is pretty big.
Yeah.
So anyway, Cassidy and Meeks left the bank, mounted their horses, and the trio took off out of town. Now get this, Deputy Sheriff Fred Cruikshank grabbed the closest transportation, a bicycle. And
whoa.
I knew you'd catch that.
You're not kidding?
I'm not kidding.
He actually grabbed a bicycle?
Yeah, I guess
and these guys were on horseback.
Right. He's going to chase him. So he followed, hoping...
There's a joke like that, I'll tell you after we're off the air.
Anyway, he was hoping to find at least where the guys had headed, maybe, anyway. So now we move on. 1866, now Butch is 31 years old. He spent the winter of 1896-97 in Robber's Roost on the lower Green River in Utah.
Yeah.
So Butch and Elsie Lay planned to rob the Pleasant Valley Coal Company payroll in Castle Gate, which is near Price, Utah.
That's quite a bit south.
Yeah, so that's Utah. You've been through there maybe.
Yeah.
So they took nearly a year in planning. That's one thing that was characteristic. They were very careful about planning their robberies. The robbery was to be done during broad daylight. They had horses they had trained for a year for this robbery.
Okay, whoa. What did they do for training on their horses?
I suppose they just ran them. Just like you would a racehorse.
Okay.
You just run them till they have good wind, you know.
Or to stand still while the bullets are flying.
I guess. So here it is, 1897. The Rio Grande Western Passenger train arrived. 2 employees carried the payroll from the train across the tracks to the mine office, which is about 100 yards away. The mine office was actually located on the top floor of a 2-story building, and it was accessed by outside stairs, which a lot of them did. The payroll consisted of 3 or 4 sacks. Just one sack held $7,000 in gold. Well, as the employees prepared to climb the outside stairs with these 4 sacks, a kind of rough-looking character later identified as Butch stepped up and said, quote, "Drop them sacks and hold up your hands." Well, Butch reached down, grabbed sacks of gold. They tossed them up to Elsie Lay, his partner, who was still on a horse. And for a moment, Butch was in trouble because his horse started to pull away. You know how a horse will, when you're trying to get on him, he's backing up. Anyway, Butch ran a few yards, threw himself on his horse, and they rode off following Elsie Lay with everyone standing around wondering what in the heck just happened.
Nobody fired any shots.
No, they just took off. They were just shocked.
Wow.
So anyway, as a result of these daring robberies in Montpelier and Castle Gate, Butch received a lot of press in the Western newspapers through 1897, 1898, and Butch Cassidy and his gang, as they were called, they were actually blamed for robberies that they really probably were never involved in.
Where did they hide out?
They just, a lot of times, they actually went to and started working someplace on a ranch or something.
You know, and it's amazing to me with the internet and everything today. I mean, basically in your smartphones that can track you wherever you are 24/7. Wow.
But keep in mind, Zeb, they always used aliases. Whenever they took off and went out someplace, they always...
And they didn't have cameras to take pictures,
no,
did they?
No. Well, yeah, they did have
for
cameras.
wanted posters?
Yeah, they did have
But they
cameras.
had to catch them first.
Right. Okay, are you ready for this next robbery?
Okay, where's it going to be?
1899.
Okay.
A Union Pacific train was robbed near Wilcox, Wyoming. The train was westbound. The warning light consisted of 2 flashing lights, a red and white lantern, that signified danger ahead. So the train stopped. Quickly, the masked men jumped on the engine, and they unhooked the rest of the train. The engine pulled down the tracks a couple of miles. Now, here's a name you may remember from the movie. The express agent Ernest Charles Woodcock.
I do. Okay. Because they were going, "Woodcock, get over there and lay down."
He locked the door and he yelled that he would shoot anybody that tried to come in. The bandits responded by throwing lit dynamite towards the car, which blew out the express car wall, knocked Woodcock unconscious. The outlaws tried without success to revive him so he could open the safe because he was out.
It didn't kill him.
No. And when he did not seem to be regaining consciousness, they used more dynamite to blow the safe, but used a little too much, and the explosion completely wrecked the train, blew a hole in the safe, and the bandits basically gathered up what was left of the whatever was not damaged.
Okay, I got to ask you a question there.
Okay.
In the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they were together on that robbery.
Right.
And when they were laying on the ground after the dollar bills were floating in the air, Sundance looked at Butch and said, "You use a little bit too much dynamite there, Butch?"
And the ironic thing is, the next time this train was robbed, not by Butch, Woodcock was in there as well.
Oh, no.
When they used, All right, now here we are going to 1900. He's 34 now. Now this is actually, Sundance, I don't think was with him on that train robbery. Because it says...
So they hadn't got together yet?
No.
Oh.
So Butch and Sundance met about 1900, and a guy named Will Carver, they took a job, and they were going to rob the bank in Winnemucca, Nevada. And you've been there, too.
Yeah.
So the newspaper account said that Sundance, Butch, and Carver had been hiding in a place called Powder Springs. Sundance was sent to Winnemucca to kind of check things out. And there was actually an interview later, and in the interview said that Butch and Carver went to Twin Falls, Idaho to buy horses, which is 30 miles from us, Zeb, right over here. Well, in Twin Falls, Twin Falls really did not exist at that time. So somehow there's...
I wonder if they didn't go up, Rock Creek.
Okay, well, that's what I'm going to get to, yeah.
Yeah.
So Twin Falls didn't exist.
I need you to turn the mic a little bit more square.
Oh,
there
sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
Good. I don't want to miss anything.
Okay. So it's more likely that they rode the train to Shoshone, Idaho. Okay, and bought horses there. And in the Rock Creek area, again, just a few miles from us right here, Zeb, before heading to Three Creek, the three outlaws met up at Three Creek near the Nevada-Idaho border.
Really?
In 1910, a Montana newspaper interview said they robbed a store to get supplies. So just right over here, not very far from us. So on the same night as the store robbery, there were 4 horses that were stolen from a ranch. And once the three outlaws arrived in Winnemucca, September 9th, they set up camp. For 10 days, they made regular trips into town. And at this time, a lot of the cowboys were out rounding up cattle.
This is Elko, right?
No, Winnemucca.
Over in Winnemucca.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got into town. They went to a merchandise store that was a few blocks away. They then entered the bank through the front door, and the three outlaws didn't even wear masks. They figured, they would know who they were. So the bank was nearly empty, and there was about 5 guys inside the bank, and Butch shouted to them, quote, "Gentlemen, throw up your hands, be quick about it, and don't make any noise." So they did. Well, they quickly made work of that. They got the gold, and they got outside. And once outside, they escorted their 5 prisoners, so to speak, out into the alley and told them, do not make any noise or anything. Well, as soon as they took off on the horses, one of the guys grabbed a gun and shot it in the air. But by this time, they're heading out of town.
Okay, now, was this bagged gold?
Yeah, 4.
Okay. Gold dust?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't say.
Because the weight.
Yeah.
The weight bothers me. That'd be pretty heavy.
It would. So I don't know exactly how they did that.
And where would they get rid of it to change it over to currency without being found?
I would think they just have to go someplace far enough away, and using aliases, they could say their name was so-and-so, whatever. They didn't.
Ken Turner.
Yeah, they could. Yeah. I doubt it, but anyway. Okay, so here we are. It's 1901, New York City. Now, Butch...
New York City!
New York City. Butch, Sundance, and Etta Place. Now, this is where she comes into the picture. And they were in New York City. They were staying at a boarding house. They told everybody that they were cattlemen from Wyoming. And not a lot is known about Etta Place's really true identity. We don't even know if that really was her name.
Where did she come from?
We don't know much about
Wasn't she a school teacher?
Don't know.
Well, you're supposed to.
Well, I told you, there's not much known. So, now rumor exists that Etta may have been Butch's girlfriend before she got together with Sundance. And looking at a picture of Sundance, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah, I mean, Butch is okay.
Let me see what she looked like.
Very pretty.
Oh, she was.
Very pretty lady, yeah. So, anyway, rumors said that this is how they got together. Okay. Now, like in the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the trio, they enjoyed all the city had to offer, the restaurants, they had plenty of money. So Butch, Sundance, and Etta, at this point, decided to travel to Argentina. together. So this is where we start heading down south. They departed in 1901 for Buenos Aires, South America. Butch and Sundance were determined to begin a new life as law-abiding citizens, planning to leave their outlaw days behind them in the States. And Butch actually tried to make connections to get pardoned, if he would promise not to rob or steal. But that never did. He contacted some of the government officials, but they weren't willing to work with him.
Did they know where he was?
No. But he was willing to come back and face the music if they would leave him alone. But that didn't take place. So they went to South America, like I say, Buenos Aires, 1901, and they felt safer than they had in years because they knew the Pinkertons were after them.
Yeah.
And down there they figured...
The famous line in the movie, Who are those guys?
And once again, using aliases, which they did time and time again. So, it was a good move because some of Butch's buddies back in the States that were outlaws, they got killed and locked up, and so it was a good move for them to head down.
Yeah.
Now, so they set out for a place called Patagonia and a valley called Cholila. And it's in a place called the Chubut province.
Now, this is in Bolivia?
Yeah, Patagonia.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right.
So the Cholila Valley was really remote.
I know you're going to have trouble with this.
I am. It was beautiful. Really a beautiful area. It's situated at the base of the Andes Mountains. And once they arrived in the valley, they lived in a tent for a while till they built a nice cabin for them. And Butch really had a good personality. People liked him. His neighbors grew to like him. He quickly made friends, outgoing personality, and they started ranching.
What about Sundance?
I think he was a little more quiet. It doesn't really say about his personality, but it says that his neighbors were impressed and his talents with the pistol impressed people. It said that he could... had a trick shot in which he would shoot a small object while leaning with one hand against a wall and spinning his pistol in the other hand. Okay, and it also says that the local police trusted Butch and Sundance. Again, probably because they didn't know who they were, and they were using aliases,
Yeah. Well,
other names.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. A little later, 1905, February 14th, a bank... now, get this, Zeb, it was 700 miles from Cholila, which is where their ranch was. It was robbed in a place called Rio Gallegos, and it is near the Strait of Magellan by two English-speaking bandits. Okay, two English-speaking bandits. Okay, so Butch and Sundance were immediately suspected as the robbery was conducted in a similar manner where they had fresh relays of horses. Okay. Now, there is proof, however, that Butch and Sundance were at their ranch in Cholila, 700 miles away, during this robbery. So they really could not have robbed that. But two bandits were American or English speaking.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I know we're getting towards the end here, Zeb.
I got 2 minutes.
Okay. One more robbery. 1905, 1908, four men robbed a bank in what they call Villa Mercedes. The bandits were described as English ranchers. They had arrived in town a week before, stayed at a hotel. On the morning of the robbery, they were reportedly drinking. During the robbery, they exchanged shots with the bank manager, but they were able to get away. Now, Villa Mercedes is, again, a long way from where Butch and Sundance were. But they still suspected them of robbing this bank. And they were chased by a posse. And actually, Butch made this comment years later, or a few years later. He said, in all his experiences, he had never been so closely trailed. So he probably was involved in that robbery. So, okay, I think we'll stop with that one.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to comment on. Your time frames that you're discussing about his age and the bank robberies and everything, I figured it up while you were talking. And if he did not die in Bolivia and he came back to New York, when you and I were born, he would have been 80 years old.
Okay.
And that's very possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
1947, my birthday.
So next week we've got two more robberies to talk about, and then we'll go into the proof
as to whether or not he did or
Lived
didn't.
died.
Yeah.
That's where. So stay tuned, folks.
This is a Saturday morning cliffhanger.
It is. It is.
You really enjoyed this book, didn't you?
You know, I have. Well, look what I've done to it.
You've messed it up.
I've highlighted. I've paged. Almost anyway. But that's what I do with books.
Where is it that they're going to sing "When Raindrops Come Falling on Your Head"?
You know, they do not even talk about that in this book. That, I think, was mostly a Hollywood thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Listen, I thoroughly enjoy this, and we've got to get that man on the program.
Yeah, I think he would be great to do an interview with.
First, we've got to find out where he lives.
Well, I've got his email address, so
okay.
I have connection with him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, he did it again. Dr. History, outstanding job. Thank you, Doc.
You bet.
Oh, my goodness, I enjoyed that immensely. One thing I'd like to remind you of quickly is that on Thursdays we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by our friends at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Don't forget, they've got all the school clothing, the Cherokee scrubs, the games, the toys, the puzzles, everything at A Child's World. And they are the main sponsor of School Days in Cassia County at 10:10 on Thursdays. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studio, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back. Dr. History's segment this week was outstanding, and he always does a great job, and a lot of study and compilation of all the facts and everything, and it was really interesting about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Going to have more next week on Tuesday. Don't miss it. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we're going to be talking to a scholar, researcher, educator, international speaker, and author of Return to Order, From a Frenzied Economy to an Organic Christian Society. My goodness, John Horvat, how are you?
Great to be back on the show.
Well, it's my pleasure, sir. And what have you been doing, writing, or whatever since I had you here the last time?
Yeah, I've been writing a lot of articles. I got a new book called Lighting the Way, which is practical examples of how we can return to order in society today. So that's kept me busy.
Okay, Lighting the Way. Give us a thumbnail sketch of what it's about and what you want the reader to take away with it at the end of the book.
Okay, it takes the book Return to Order, which is about Christian principles applied to economy, and says, well, let's get some stories and essays that explain that, make it a little more easier for you to understand, from daily life experience. So this book is a compilation of just stories and essays that say, well, this is the way people have put these principles into action, and, it can be done. It's not something that's abstract. So that's what I wanted people to take away.
John, I had you on the program before, and I found you to be a very interesting individual, talking about Christian principles and then also how it applies to, our economy and the bills got to be paid and everything, and you can still be Christian. What are your thoughts about, like you said on the information sheet, a Christian economy? Where are we at regarding that subject?
Well, I think there definitely can be a Christian economy. Everybody tries to turn economy into a type of science of numbers and equations and algorithms. But if we really want a society that grows and prospers, it has to have some kind of Christian principles. And that doesn't mean it has to run on charity, or you have to give away everything, or you can't make a profit. It just says that these economic ways of doing things should be tempered with Christian virtue and charity. That's what makes an economy run well.
Let me ask you at that juncture what your thoughts are about a man that is now the President of the United States, a man that has made a very bountiful living as being a real estate mogul and businessman. What are your thoughts as a Christian regarding Donald Trump?
Well, I think we have a lot to celebrate. He has done a lot of good things, even from an economic point of view. We have an economy that's growing, that's really unemployment's down. All the good economic indicators are showing that we are recovering from so many socialist moves that have taken place. But I think we still have a long way to go. I think a lot of this is a moral problem, not only an economic problem. And so I think we need to keep up, to keep up the pressure as far as, all these moral issues. It's like abortion and, marriage and all the things that are very important toward an economy and a society.
Well, at that juncture where you say we have a moral problem in this country, I couldn't agree with you more. But it seems like with the diminishment of the value of being a Christian or following Christian principles, we're going to have more of these moral problems. So we're kind of like a basketball rolling downhill. How are we going to stop it and right the ship?
That's a good point. I mean, and I like it is very much the analogy of a ship. I think it's great because we are in a cruise ship economy, where everybody's supposed to be happy and just spend and do, and not to take life too seriously. But I think those kind of things catch up with you in the final analysis, and I think we will be, it will catch up with us, and that will be when we will have to right the ship. While the ship's going well and everything's, everybody's happy, you can't. It's hard to get people's attention.
Well, this is my own attitude on this thing: is that we've lost the Christian principles in a lot of things. Whether it's our education, whether it's the business world, whether it's in politics, we've lost what this country was founded on with Judeo-Christian policies, and we've gone so far to the left. Can we ever bring it back to where we really have some moral principles that are going to be applied to the application and working of our government?
That's a good question, and I think it can. I don't think it's impossible at this point. I think it's going to be hard. But I mean, just to give you an example of Christian economy today, there are things of Christian economy that we just sort of overlook. For example, caregivers. They provide something like $500 billion worth of free unpaid service to their parents or to their relatives. Something like 37 billion hours of work, that they give freely and charitably to those who are sick and ill, and in a very Christian way. And I think this is an enormous part of our economy and part of who we are as Americans, to help others. It's still there. It's not all gone. I think that, but it's definitely, we need to do everything possible to keep it going.
Well, John, in talking to you, I always feel kind of reinvigorated about what's going on. But when I look at people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a young woman, 28 years of age, that all of a sudden the left is hailing her as being another Obama, and she's pushing for what I would call secular socialism. My goodness, we've got a lot of work to do if we're going to keep the socialists, if you will, from taking over, which is absolutely against any form or written ideals about Christianity.
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's completely, way off. It's amazing, But there are these type of figures that they need. These are poster boys, or in this case, poster girls, who are sort of standard bearers for their cause, and so they do give them a lot of attention, and I think they exaggerate the attention which is due to them, because their ideas are certainly I don't think they're nearly as attractive as people say they are.
The thing is, and you write about this and you study this and you've written books, but I never thought in my lifetime, and I'm an old man, but I never thought I would see the hatred and the display of hatred and animosity against being Christian in the United States. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. Yeah, I've been there. I've seen it. I've been on campuses. I've been on in the streets and done a lot of campaigning on these issues, and yeah, you do see it. You do see it, and it's very, very, very vocal and very intense. But at the same time, you also see the other side. If I've been out on the street campaigning for traditional marriage, and with a sign saying "honk for traditional marriage," and I'm just astounded at how many people do honk, because they are so relieved to see somebody out in the public square doing something and expressing the things they also believe in.
Well, I absolutely would stand with you on that, and I think that today in the United States, I don't care if it's a street corner in New York, a street corner in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or a street corner right here in the Twin Falls, Burley area, you're going to have most everybody agree with you on traditional marriage, but they're afraid, basically, other than honking their horn and agreeing with you, they're afraid to speak up. And our society, I'm going to say this, has, I think, turned into a bunch of chickens because they're afraid whatever they say or whatever they do, they're going to have some kind of problem that's going to confront them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are people that just don't want to make a commitment. You know, they are happy to see you, and they certainly won't join you. But it does. But the fact that they do something, you know, I think is something is significant because it does somehow bring the myth out that, you know, that the left is, you know, so all powerful. They really aren't. I mean, it's a fight. We also have our, you know, we're not all powerful either. It's a fight, and we're of a polarized country. And we just need to stay in the fight.
Well, you know, you and I have talked about this the last time you were on the air. I just went through some of my notes that I keep on various guests, and we talked about churches, and we've talked about the leaders of churches and pastors, etc. I said, and I'll still maintain, that they've got to become more vocal. They've got to become more of a teacher, if you will, to their congregation and really tell the congregation what the score is and what they need to do to win the game. And I don't think a lot of them are doing this.
No, definitely not. And they're scared to do it. And, you know, it's just this pressure to say to be politically correct. And I think they would be surprised when they see that when they do it. And when I see a pastor or a priest do something that is, you know, like just who speaks out, I just feel so relieved. And I try to encourage them to continue because that's what people are waiting for.
What do you, and when you write these books, like the new book, Lighting the Way, I mean, what's the bottom line that when they close the cover that you want people to take away? You want them to take action. What do you want them to do?
Well, I mean, I do want them to, I don't want to say, well, a lot of these stories are stories of people who have taken, you know, who've started Christian businesses or displayed leadership and done things that are extraordinary. I want them to do extraordinary things. You know, I want them to say, well, use these people as examples. You can do it. It doesn't, and you don't have to be someone very important because a lot of these stories are just people that are, you know, taxi drivers or people I meet in different when traveling. You know, you can do it, and it can be done.
Absolutely, John. I always look forward to having you on my program. And I wish you a lot of luck with that new book. By the way, Lighting the Way, where can they get the book? Where can it be obtained?
If you go to the website, returntoorder.org, it's right on the front page. You'll see it there, and you can just click there and get it.
Well, I wish you all kinds of success with this book, and please come back in the future. I'll look forward to having you on the show.
It's always great. God bless.
Thank you. And the same right back at you. God bless you, John Horvath. Thank you very much. Very nice man right there. And we will have more with him in the future on Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, we're going to have a weather forecast. And then I really want to open the door up and let you call in. So give me some calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's get a weather forecast on here right now, sponsored by Scarro's Meats. Hello, Don Scarro. I wished you'd stop over with some bratwurst. Anyway, they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. The telephone number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrosmeats.com. Oh, it's still barbecue season. Oh, they've got those delicious marinated pork ribs for only $1.99 per pound, and they got the barbecue packages, you know, the beef and the pork and the chicken. Oh, yes, put your apron on and grill. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. We'll tell you more right after Gina and the weather.
For once we can actually see the mountains for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at mostly sunny skies for today. The air quality advisory has been lifted, which is very, very wonderful. Expecting a high of 72, slightly breezy, winds out of the east, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, sunny and 80, expecting an overnight low of 52 for Wednesday night. Thursday, mostly sunny and 82. By Friday, expecting sunny skies, mid-70s. Then for Saturday, back up to about 80. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Thank you, Gina. Sounds not too bad. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious, delicious meats. All you need to do is stop over at their location or give them a call or go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would love to hear from you about any of the topics that we've talked about so far for this morning, and we've had a lot of them. You know, somebody called in a little bit earlier in the first hour, and some of the letters that are in our local newspaper, and some of their comments are absolutely unthought. I don't think that they really give a lot of attention to what they're trying to tell you and I and how we need to change our thoughts. There was a guy in the newspaper not too long ago from Twin Falls. His name was Kent Waterhouse. And he wrote a letter, and he was stating things like, we must replace meat and dairy products in our diet with vegetables, fruit, and grains. Well, that's all well and good if it's his opinion. I mean, I share a difference of opinion. But he said we need to replace fossil fuels and go with just the solar and the wind power. And he goes on and on and on, but they don't talk about how in the world are we going to farm? How are we going to grow those vegetables and fruits and grains? I'd like to see the tractor. I'd like to see the machinery that is propelled down the fields with a propeller. You see, these people say we've got to do this and we've got to change it to their way, but they don't have any concrete answers. And solar and wind power, not going to cut the cake. I noticed another letter in the paper the other day that was written by a Crystal Rain, out of Boise, and she said clean energy costs are now competitive with fossil fuels. No, they are not. This lying to the public and basically fairy tales of saying that clean energy costs are now competitive with fossil fuels, no, they are not. And anybody that says that is completely misguided and unknowledgeable about the costs. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Sir, they come up with these ideas, but they don't come up with any with the real solution. What they're trying to do, they say, let's go with clean energy. Okay, hydro's clean energy.
Yeah.
I mean, but they don't want any more dams. They don't want any hydro plants. But it's very clean, renewable energy. But you take these wind towers and you take these solar panels, their carbon footprint is so big, a windmill will never spin long enough to even offset the carbon footprint it takes to build it and erect it.
That's exactly true. And then the idiocy and the lunacy of the electric car industry and what to do with the spent batteries. There is a question right now that I've had Lauren Fix, the car coach from back in New York, on our program talking about many, many times. People that are on that side of the fence saying, oh, go electric. They don't have any answers and they run and hide when you confront them with that.
Exactly. They only solve half of a problem, which they create a bigger problem trying to solve a problem that really wasn't even there to begin with.
Well, I just absolutely wish that we could do a seminar. of the left with all of their brash statements saying, like this Waterhouse from Twin Falls saying, the more damaging methane and nitrous oxide are released from the digestive tracts of cattle and from animal waste cesspools. Oh, boy. That's great to hear before lunch, and not the truth.
Well, humans excrete the same thing. So what's he going to do about all that stuff?
They haven't been to my church on Sunday morning.
I mean, they're really incapable of taking facts and coming up with a solution. All they do is, oh, this is a feel-good problem, or this is a feel-good solution, let's do it.
Well, listen to this sentence that was written by this Crystal Rain in Boise, and really draw a question mark at the end of this sentence and explain to me what she means. She said, quote, we've relied on fossil fuels too long. They're expensive, pollute our communities, and undermine Idaho's resiliency. What does that mean?
Undermine what?
Yeah, Idaho's resiliency.
Oh, wait a minute. She's wanting everybody to go back to tents and burning buffalo dung.
Yeah, the Stone Age. I'll sharpen a rock and make it into a hatchet. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, nobody have any modern tools. You can't have toasters. No wood.
She loves this word resiliency because she says later on in her very futile attempt to change my attitude, one that brings good jobs and grows our economy, takes back power to choose clean energy solutions and zero emissions vehicles, and creates resiliency and energy security. Would you tell me what that gobbledygook meant?
That's exactly what it meant.
Yeah. I got another call waiting, but I'm so glad you called. Thank you.
Zeb, she was in a Word of a Day club, and that was her word of the day.
We'll do that tomorrow morning. We'll sign on with the word resiliency class. Thank you.
Gotta go. God bless.
All right, take care. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly, I got a minute and a half.
Okay, and I'll make mine pretty quick. You know, I'm waiting for the article in the Times News that makes a statement that going back to having horses do the plowing and the farm work and people pulling it by hand would be way more efficient than these tractors.
Yeah.
Because they're just about that ridiculous in what they print now.
I agree with you, Jerry. These people have no concept of what it takes to put food on the table and the effort and the labor and the respect I have for agriculture, and they make loony statements like this. I agree. Thank you for calling, my dear friend.
And you know, all you've got to do is drive out through our beautiful farm country and look at these beautiful crops that are in. And they're not, you know, they're not destroying the environment a bit.
That's right.
They're very well done. The farmers do a very good job of taking care of the land and our environment. And this dang stuff on electric cars and that is just plumb lunacy.
I agree. Got to run, Jerry.
And all it's stupid. There's no sense to it at all. It's a waste of money, a waste of time, and a waste of energy.
Absolutely. Hey, my friend, I got to run, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now, Zeb, don't you try running.
Okay, Jerry, thank you.
You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Hey, I want to remind everybody about Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch. Great big 30th annual production sale coming up on Saturday, September 8th. Don't miss this horse sale. Preview at 10 in the morning, sale at 11 up at the ranch at 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. I'm talking about horses that are bred for conformation, disposition, and performance. They know how to handle themselves with great minds and an abundance of color. Don't forget, call Jerry, my old friend, at 670-3833 for more information of this great big Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch production sale, Saturday, September 8th. Don't you miss it. Absolutely. We have had a fun program this morning, and what have we got cooking tomorrow? We've got Dave Bego. We're going to have Jerry Zollinger on the program, and Dr. Warren Found, and I can't remember who's going to be on at 10:30 tomorrow, but we will have someone I hope. And I want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires that you need to maybe go on a road trip, or maybe you're going to take that late fall camping trip someplace, whatever. You be sure and stop in and see them today for your car, pickup, and SUV. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, also with the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All 7 locations with the best of people to provide to you service. Absolutely the best in service. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Okie doke. Tomorrow on the program, I've already told you who's going to be on, and we always look forward to having your calls in the first hour with our open forum. We'll be looking forward to that. Wheels, good job today, buddy. You hung tough on a lot of circumstances. We appreciate all you did, and we want to remind everybody that we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06 on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. And again, I had a couple of calls the last few days about how to get the blog, my weekly blog, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Just go to zebbell.com. You'll see the part where it says the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Click it on. Give us your address. We will get it to you. Yes, Wheels, what did you need?
I was just going to let you know that if it's nice this weekend, we should take our fishing trip.
Oh, there's a subtle hint. Okay, buddy, I hope so. I will let you know. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. God bless everybody. We'll see you then.